Have you ever worked at a place where they didn't want you talking about your salary? Actually, have you ever worked anywhere where they did?
Hey everybody, welcome to Liquid Lunch. It's me, Hugh, and Sue is here. It's Monday.
Hello.
So here we are starting the week off right because we're calling all vegans, right?
We are.
Yes, we are. And we've got Kyle Bowles here and Natasha Ventura. And Kyle, this is like the third time you've been here, right? Something like that?
Well, I came first to speak at an event about at a blockchain event, and then I came on here to speak about the sanctuary that I'm currently working on developing, the urban ecosystem sanctuary, and then I guess Sue invited me back here to speak specifically on her show.
Well, that's fantastic. Actually, because I'm looking forward to, I want to talk about the LOBACoin, which is the crypto project. That is, so we're going to talk about that, and also the urban ecosystems wildlife refuge. So it's going to be great. So we're going to have a great conversation. I'm glad you're here. Finally, I get the chance to sit down and find out about LOBACoin and the other stuff that you're doing. And but let's just talk to Natasha for a second, because I understand you guys are in some kind of a relationship.
We're engaged.
Yeah, we're engaged.
That's great.
Thanks.
So, Tasha, what do you think of Kyle's, the activism, the veganism, the cryptocurrency, and all that kind of stuff?
Well, it's great because I'm very supportive of what he does, and I find like what he does to be like very important for like the animals and like for the environment and just even for like just people in general.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with the urban ecosystems wildlife refuge.
Refuge, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So is that in the city? It says urban.
No, it's So urban ecosystems was an initiative. I just a little bit about the backtrack. I won't give like a long spiel, but it basically I started the Urban Ecosystems Initiative in 2014, and it was basically out of concern for in my area, but like a lot of the GTA, I was seeing a lot of a lot of habitat was being lost to big development, urban sprawl, condominiums, and I was concerned with other issues that affected animals as well, which explains sort of the connection to living a plant-based lifestyle. But so I started that basically the initiative, going to different festivals, advocating for ecologically friendly development and to the importance of animals' habitat. In terms of sustaining the health of ecology, and then that it kind of take forward a couple of years I think to really make an impact. What I wanted to do was to have an actual education center to show examples of how you could develop wildlife-friendly infrastructure that benefited animals that could help humans to cohabitate in urban spaces with animals in a lot more friendly of a way, so people could be better neighbors with with ecology that they live with, and there's a lot of issues that surround the importance of that. The last time I was on, I cited a World Wildlife Study that talked about how the rapid depletion of wildlife across Canada, and how a lot of the most threatened ecosystems that are in the ones that are the most urbanized, that use the most resources. And so but I think it's that's not just an issue here in Canada. You go across the world, probably virtually every country, you could probably see the same story emerging, maybe to certain, depending on how much damage that country does in terms of its natural environment. You may see different degrees of how severe the species numbers are actually depleting, and so it's such an important issue, and this is just one mechanism, but it's really the sanctuary, like the refuge, is basically it's fostering two things. We're going to rescue animals that come from abused circumstances that can actually be naturalized to live that the land can actually support, that people can see, sort of like an animal sanctuary, but we're not, they're actually living in a naturalized setting. And we also provide infrastructure and different examples of infrastructure and elements that can be incorporated into urbanized settings that can benefit wildlife. And that basically is what sums that up.
So what part of the GTA, or whereabouts do you live? You mentioned it's impacting in your area specifically. Well, I know everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I live in Richmond Hill at the moment, and
That used to be out in the country.
well, yeah, at one time. Now it's, like, as urban sprawl kind of, expands its way upward, right? Then it, more and more habitat, gets taken up for urban sprawl. I mean, there's a lot of issues, but that's particularly the one that's immediate in our environment that we see most of.
So how do you deal with that? I mean, it actually depresses me when I get on the 407 and drive across what in my lifetime used to be farmland, right? I mean, how are those two things compatible at all? Can we have an urban environment that is actually friendly to
Yes.
animals? I mean, I know where I live, which is 15 minutes from right here by bike, so it's pretty close to downtown. I got squirrels, I got raccoons, I got birds. It seems very nice, but how can those things be compatible?
Well, the biggest thing is really the kind of development that we're really seeing. Like, most of the development that you, like, at least take, like, on either commercial or residential level, most of the development that gets approved by, and across the Greater Toronto Area, you see this from town to town. Town councils basically, and the and recently, even though the OMB, the Ontario Municipal, just got replaced with something else. What you've basically been seeing is big developers have been getting approvals to create developments that maximize their profit, and the town and city councilors like that, because then they get more tax dollars out of it. But they're not those councilors are neglecting actually building housing for people that doesn't create a larger disparity with regards to the income gap, that makes life affordable, because a lot of the major problems that we have here in Canada, like, this is not just a Greater Toronto Area issue, this is across the country. The biggest source of the majority of our consumer debt, for example, is mortgage debt. So that shows you right there that as big developers, they get more and more profit. Everybody else, like regular citizens, it becomes harder to live because the cost of living just goes up and up and up. And so
well, the good news is the banks have lots of money.
Well, that's
Phew.
yeah.
Strong
All
banking
is not
sector.
lost. Boo.
Well, yeah, and I just want to point out that it's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. If the banks make more money available to people to buy houses, it's going to drive the price up, right? That's what causes, and the bankers, they don't care because they get all those high mortgage payments every month. They scoop up all that all that money, all that disposable income is now going to the banks.
Well, yeah, like, I mean, with where I think really where the banks would contribute to that is, just the additional credit that's being offered. And so really you don't really have and you just basically have bigger loans, you have more debt that you're putting onto the backs of citizens, whether that's at the government level or just at the consumer level. At some point in society, right, there's some area of society that has that debt burdened on them, and then you don't actually really create just in terms of the economics, a sustainable society for the long term. You want a society that's accessible to everybody.
Right, but how do you get there?
Well,
how do you get there?
One of the I think beyond just looking at like the ecological fundamentals, there's one of the exhibits that we are going to be having on the Urban Ecosystems Wildlife Sanctuary kind of touches on that very thing, and there are a lot of people that are looking to get particularly millennials. There's a lot of individuals looking at the tiny house movement, looking at earth ships, looking at various different earth berm homes, and they're looking basically to get out of the conventional housing model and to live at something where they're free of mortgage, they're free of all these things. To me, I think that is where I sort of got inspired in terms of, because I wanted to do that with my own housing situation, because I didn't want to be tied up in a mortgage. I seen that, and that just spelled nightmare to me. But in terms of how that both benefits animals and then also to benefits people, you've got cheap ecological housing that is easy to naturalize, that A lot of these types of housing, like they don't require a lot of heat because you've got a smaller space. A lot of the principles utilized in the actual construction are passive. So in terms of how it gathers heat, produces like all these things, it utilizes a lot of passive factors. So you're actually working with the ecology rather than working against it, which is how I don't know why, but we've developed a lot of human civilization pushing against ecology. And I think that's probably why we've gotten to the place we're at in terms of our overall environmental health, is because that like we've been pushing against nature rather than sort of seeing how nature works and trying to build a community that's functional within the actual ecological principles that it operates. And I think once you and simply key here, the biggest thing here when we build the kind of the kind of cities, the kind of places that we live, the real reason that it's pretty simple when it comes to animals that their populations are depleting. You'll notice that what probably was once here was a lot more vegetation than's here now. And so the depletion of vegetation, the depletion of available resources for these animals to live is the reason that their populations are depleting. Human beings are living better than ever, and yet we're on our own ticking time bomb we can't see. And then you've got the animals, and their populations are shrinking. All of half the Canadian species that are on the decline, their populations in the past 40 years have decreased over 80% on average. So
but every time you change an ecosystem, like if this was once forest here, right?
Yes.
So there's certain kind of animals that are going to live in a forest. You urbanize that environment, and you can't have bears living in the city or deer really, but you can have squirrels and raccoons, and I understand we have possums here now.
Well, I think it really comes down to how connected the how connected the ecology is.
Yeah. So let me ask you. So the urban, do you have a facility, the Urban Ecosystems Refuge?
So back in 2015, I purchased about 13 acres of land in Bancroft, and now we are in what's called the deciduous forest zone. Now I know that's a little over a couple hours away, but that's right around where the top of this ecosystem is. And the reason I wanted it to be there was because the wildlife that actually goes through there, I wanted it to be somewhere that was connected to, would be safe for them, to not just to travel through, but also that it was connected to a vegetated area, that you're looking at what's going to work best for the animals. And other factors too, your locality and stuff like that, right?
Well, from there up there, they could probably, if they have to, you've got forest probably from there right across the country connected, I would think.
Well, the thing about it is that while a lot of Canada remains very wild, a lot of the impacts, the increased amounts of pollution, the decrease in biodiversity, they all go and impact those forests. You'll see tree canopies that are in poor health because of the decreased amount of oxygen that's present in the atmosphere. And that trickles down into, because of increased temperatures, you see increased tick populations that are affecting our moose populations. So across the only area throughout Canada that moose are actually thriving, ironically, is in Saskatchewan, and that's because there's a lot of the agricultural fields. There's a lot of meadows there, and there's little wetlands that get created. But the main thing about it is because they're not in such poor health, they have more like a safe space there in some ways. But just to give you some, over the past 40 years, the deciduous forest zone, that's this ecosystem zone here in Ontario that we're in right now, has lost over 70% of its wetlands, over 98% of its grasslands. We've lost the majority of our forests, but we still there's only seems to be a incentive to preserve some woodlots and maybe just some of the the river connections, but a lot of the wetlands are now gone, and so I think it's about re-looking at how we develop cities, because we need the wildlife present. We may not think that ecology in terms of existing within an urban landscape is necessary, but I think there's a lot of mental health things, a lot of social things that we could fix if we reintroduce a lot of the naturalized elements. Better health, better quality of air, more access to nature for people in lower income tiers. That would be of vital importance for all aspects of society. I think it permeates. It doesn't just affect the animals that we're talking about, but it also affects people.
Okay, so what have you got up there on the property in Bancroft?
Well, right now we're building. Right now the sanctuary is currently developing. We're building. I'm hoping to have it open within a couple of years. We're looking at building some examples of infrastructure that we can show people that could be implemented to hopefully inspire people to make changes in urbanized areas. We're going to be building some examples of naturalized tiny housing that we're going to be putting on the sanctuary. We've got one project that's called the Great White Wall, which basically acts as a sort of, think of it like a solar panel, but it's basically, because of its color, it's basically a large white panel that's basically using its coloration is reflecting the UV rays back to stabilize the temperature. Can be used as a way to stabilize the temperature for the surrounding ecology, and for an urban environment would be very beneficial, because one, it lowers the amount of greenhouse gases necessary because it makes the natural environment cooler. Number two, it also will benefit in terms of providing a solution for the urban heat island effect, where you've got basically a lot of dark surfaces and a lot of concrete, non-permeable surfaces absorbing all the heat and making it, because temperature is such a large fluctuation for a lot of species, and so that's one example. We're currently developing working on building a horse den to show examples of naturalized equids.
I helped dig that trough.
Yes. Well, yes. Sue has actually been up to once or twice, and hopefully.
Digging.
What do you call it? A horse? What?
Troughed.
Well,
I call it a trough.
It's basically what we were constructing was a passive water pond. So at the end of it, what we're going to be installing is something called a fog catcher. That will also be something, and that's a mechanism for which you actually passively capture water through moisture.
Okay, so did it fill up with water?
We are going to be build. That's going to actually be feeding this thing that the passive water catchment pond that Sue is helping to.
No, okay, but it's you're going to dig it, and then it should fill up naturally.
It's going to fill. It's going to be basically filling up through both natural rain catchment and through being fed through the fog catcher.
Oh,
Yeah.
very cool. Yeah,
It's in the very
that's great.
early stages.
How big
of
is it
this.
going to be, the pond?
The whatchamacallit, we're going to have the pond is probably I guess, I don't know, if I was looking at would probably be, I guess, around I guess if you but we're going to have little small wetland pockets around that, because I think a lot of that's going to be really key and vital for a lot of species, is a focus away from just protecting parcels of land and for promoting the principles of bioconnectivity, allowing for species to be able to move from location to location, and having various different watering holes that, you're looking at what is beneficial for the species. How can we make their existence easier rather than making it always harder?
Okay, so let's talk about LOBACoin
Sure.
for a minute. First of all, so it's a cryptocurrency,
Yeah.
and maybe you could just describe the rationale for the coin and what how it's going to work.
Okay, so LOBACoin's basically an urban ecosystems project, and the way that it's basically set up is it's simply using the blockchain technology to encourage animal-friendly commerce. So the idea with the LOBACoin projects is we're groups of volunteers who are passionate and dedicated about the betterment of animals. This group of volunteers, we're basically going to approve of distributors that basically will So that'll be anything from animal sanctuaries, vegan businesses, restaurants, any sort of thing that where the work that they're doing or the products that they're serving to people actually benefit animals. So in our white paper, if you go to LOBACoin.xyz, it kind of lays out the basic principles of what a distributor would have to meet. And so the basic way that it actually works in terms of the actual transaction process, they just basically sell the coin to a consumer. So the actual money that's getting exchanged happens in person. The LOBACoin is the only thing that's transacted over the network. And the reason I did that in comparison to processing the money over, buying it through an exchange was to make it more palatable for people, to make it more mainstream for people that are outside of the tech space, so that way you have that extra level of familiarity that people usually have with buying and selling goods and services. And so it basically operates as a digital voucher. You would pull out the LOBACoin app on your phone and you can redeem it for, I guess, whatever, a certain amount, like whatever it's sold at. Someone sells it to you, so let's say from the Vegan Danish Bakery, and then you can then, let's say, donate it to Wishing Well Sanctuary, and they can sell it back to someone. And it's basically to encourage this circle of commerce that we as a community, we're supporting each other through using it.
Okay, is it launched yet?
Yes.
And so people can purchase the coins, or how does that work?
Okay, so there's a few methods in terms of how you can earn it. Okay, so people basically can download the LOBACoin app for Android, but they can also use the LOBACoin.xyz website. That's there's preloaded paper wallets, just because we wanted to take some of the harder to understand technical components out of it. So we've got preloaded paper wallets that are available for sale, and when people can earn it through either the drop method, which is basically, it's sort of like a much easier, less tech savvy way of mining it. So basically people fill in captchas, and then the network basically, rather than when you mine something, you usually got a series of computers that are verifying the transactions, but it sort of works more like, if you think like the Tor browser, right? Mm-hmm. Where to hide the identity or to keep your identity anonymous, it pings it off various computers. Well, it'll bounce, like when you fill in that captcha, the network bounces it off to verify the coin, and you then get it anonymously to your wallet. So you can either, that's how you would mine it, would basically be filling in the captcha. All wallets are free to start, the public ledgers there, and you can also earn it as well, hopefully when we get some more distributors. But right now they can also be earned through volunteering for animal sanctuaries, for any sort of active volunteerism that benefits animals. So whether it's activism, volunteering at an animal sanctuary, and you basically there's a form that you fill in on the site. That's also part of where that LOBACoin, like the volunteers with the LOBACoin project, we would get these applications in, and we send, once they create a wallet, we are then able to send them a coin for their active volunteerism. And the idea basically is that this is just simply another tool that kind of helps to empower the community through supporting each other's efforts.
And I'm just curious, what is the blockchain that you're using?
We have our own blockchain.
Is it based on any other blockchains?
I would say it's probably a combination of there was two coins that I sort of based it off of, like in terms of like the programming aspect. I used a little bit of the coding from Litecoin, a bit of the Gaia coin, and I used probably a bit of just the typical, like oh my god,
Bitcoin?
yeah, the Bitcoin network, like in terms of like a model, and sort of that's sort of what I used as a reference when like setting up the LOBACoin network. But it's probably in retrospect, it's a lot less code heavy. It's a little bit more it's probably a little bit more simple in terms of how it operates. But the idea basically is just simply to utilize the blockchain technology to give the community, like the AIR community, people that want to see the betterment of species, a tool to encourage commerce that's making a difference for animals.
Okay, so for everybody watching this, and I know a lot of people in the vegan community are watching this, what is the best way for them to participate, or to help, or to just get involved?
With LOBACoin?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a few different things you can do. Right now, the project has just started up, so it's in its infancy. If you go to lobacoin.xyz, you can, if you're a vegan business or non-for-profit, even an activist group, you can sign up to become a distributor. That's to either sell, you can sell it to the community that gives, and you can sell it to the community and to start, getting it, this into the sphere of the community. You can sign up to become part of to volunteer to become a part of the LOBACoin project. Those volunteers would basically be helping to approve of distributors that could sell it into the community, and also distributors will also can accept it if they're a business, they can accept it for goods or services. For if you're an activist group, or if you're a non-for-profit, you can accept it as a donation. You can sell into the community. If you just want to open a wallet, you can go to lobacoin.xyz and create a wallet there. Or there's also preloaded paper wallets, and we'll send you all the instructions. And hopefully, when other distributors get on board, they will also be able to. Urban Ecosystems is going to be the first distributor, and then hopefully, once we get other distributors on board, that we'll sell it into the community. They can also sell it into the community. Different businesses and non-for-profits that help animals can start accepting it. We encourage that cycle of commerce, and it's one extra tool that we can.
It sounds like something that any kind of business that's serving the vegan community can participate as a merchant,
yes,
or as a distributor.
Exactly.
So so people can just go to that website, lobacoin.xyz, and is there a website for the urban ecosystems?
Yes. Urban Ecosystems Wildlife Sanctuary Refuge. That's urbanecosystems.ca. You'll also find the LOBACoin project link in the footer of our website. If you want it, we will be. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and through social media and on our website. You can find out about the upcoming projects. Like if you want to help to volunteer or help with any of the construction, with any of the infrastructure, and hopefully the faster we get it moving, the faster we can actually look to actually rescuing the animals that we're going to put on the sanctuary. And if the faster it moves, the faster we can actually get this.
Well, it sounds like a fun project. Especially. Well, of course, I'm all about cryptocurrencies, but having 12 acres up there.
Horse troughs, and you are
See,
into
I want to come up and see your work.
My handiwork.
I want to see that thing filled with water. I like the fog water catcher idea too. So that's awesome. So, anyways, guys, thanks for coming in today, Kyle. Good to finally have this conversation.
Thank you.
And Natasha, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. We're going to take a little break. We've got Naza Hasabanebi. She brought some food, I think. There's a big container over there that we're looking at. So we're going to take a little break and come back with more right after this on lookalunch.channel.com.
Are we done painting yet?
Keep rolling, mister.
You're listening to music from the new Coffee House Jazz playlist. Now
All right, we're back on the show here, and now this is the part we've been looking forward to, at least for now, right? Because it's the food. There's always good to have food, but Naz is here, and she's been here before, right? Which I just found out, right? But what was that? That was quite a while ago, almost 10 years ago.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, what a happy
Full
reunion.
circle. Yes.
That's
Right?
nice.
Yeah, it's
And so, were you in the food business back then, or?
Well, I want to say that I've been in the food business all my life, but not necessarily in the mainstream or in the official or in the commercial sense. But I learned to cook at a very, very young age. In my culture of Eritrea, or Eritrean culture, the female, the eldest daughter, simply is literally a step behind mom, if not right beside mom. So we learn how to do all the domestic things that girls should know, which I usually think it's people should know. But so I grew up with my mother, learned to cook with her. We have a huge family. And for any of you who may be familiar with an African family, it's not just your immediate family. You have the extension of your extended family, but that also includes the community abroad. So at any given day, we can have anyone and everyone show up at our doors. So growing up, my mother would make huge pots of food as a regular meal every day, because
Just
we
in
would
case.
have we always had someone come in.
Yeah.
So that love of food and the love of community, the love of sharing. And as you'll see, we have today injera here, but so we have it in the appetizer sense, but injera is big flat bread from Eritrea and Ethiopia. It's fermented, usually made with teff. We eat with our hands. So you can have 10, 12 people eating from a huge plate together with their hands, and sometimes you feed each other. So the culture of food is really one of connectivity for me on so many levels. Food is the centerpiece of everything.
Okay, so this is no injera. That's what, INJERA.
You got it?
So you see that, right, in different stores and places in town that has the what is it? Eritrean writing. They have that.
Yeah, it's
special,
actually it's called Giz, which is the ancient language of Ethiopia. So it has its own. We say fidelat, which means alphabets, essentially. And so Tigrina, which is the main Eritrean language, and Amharina, which is the Amharic, as some people would refer to, those are the sources that come directly from the Giz. So that's what you see written. So sometimes between the Amharic or Amharina and the Tigrina is just little syllables that differ. So but injera is injera across the board.
Okay, so I think we need to have a look at this food now. Before I do that, Sue, because do you have any questions or comments before we?
I don't. You want to get right to it? Yeah. We're gonna get right to it.
Show, right now I'm showing you, but I want to show the food. So this is why I'm with this camera over here.
Get that camera off me.
I want to see it before it goes away. So do you have a business?
We do. Our company is called Chic Peas Veg. I love chickpeas. My sons love chickpeas. It's our favorite legume. We said, we're not a regular chickpea. I'm not a regular chickpea. And so we thought we'd give it a little twist, make it a stylish, and Chic Peas. So it's Chic Peas Veg, CHIC PEAS Veg.
No, were you always vegan, vegetarian?
No, I grew up eating meat. As a matter of fact, a lot of vegetables I used to try to hide under the table and throw under the table. My father wouldn't have that. And sometimes there were very lengthy dinners. I mean, generally speaking, our family, because we're so large, our dinners are long because conversations, discussions about your day, and I have 4 brothers who are very funny. But I've been on a plant lifestyle for about almost 20 years now, a year short.
Wow.
19 years, and my 2 sons who are teens are vegans from birth. So this is a way of life for us.
Now, so is this a business? I know.
So Chic Peas Veg is a business. What we offer is catering, international vegan cuisine with an East African twist. So you'll see a combination of different things from all over the planet. Lots of herbs and spices from across the globe. I find it difficult to be narrow-lined and streamed to one place. So because I love world food.
Well, that's the thing now, that we're all, I mean, in touch, in contact with other cultures, other foods,
Exactly.
right? So we get to mix and match and be creative.
Absolutely. Especially in the city. You
Yeah.
can go to any corner and find something completely unique, completely different. And it's just a wonderful experience. What better way to tap into a culture or into a community than through its food? Because for me and for us at Chickpeas, food is all about love. It is an extension of your heart, your hands, that kind of it gives that satisfaction and that feeling of warmth and love. So when my clients tell me, "Oh my gosh, I can taste the love in this food,"
No, you need,
that is the currency I work with.
well, that, you know, because you think about it, it's true, right? I think it's proven scientifically
Yes.
that if you're, you know, well, Dr. Emoto, right? So you're putting your mental energy into the water.
Absolutely.
Food has got water in it. And so you're putting that love into the food. It's going to come across. It's going to be better for people.
Absolutely.
And so if people need catering, better to have catering that's got love in it, right?
Absolutely, and I have to say this to you as well. I have this rule: anyone working with me, that could be my children, or through our in-school workshops promoting a plant lifestyle, through our cooking classes, which I must plug, which is taking place this Saturday on the 5th of May, just up in the Manny Life Center at 44 Charles Street. And what you can do is actually sign up. We're very free-spirited in the sense that you will have an opportunity and a say. So our clients don't know that I'm going to be sending them an email in a couple of days saying, "Hey, what would you like to learn?" And kind of allow them to have a hand in planning what the cooking class will be. I mean, I have my ideas and my template, but I like to involve the customer. So my rule is, if you are upset, if you are angry, or you are not in the best of mood, I need you not to be around the food. Because that energy transfers into what you're putting out there and what people taste. And I don't think we as beings understand that really well yet.
Yeah.
We really don't. So for us, it's food made with love, healthy, nutritious. Majority of our menu, actually, I want to say 90-95% of our menu is gluten-free. We use, everything is made from scratch. Yours truly. I have a great team of family and friends who come out and support us. So we also have pop-up brunches. We actually had one last Sunday. Completely sold out. I had people the night before, the morning of, please, 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 just 2 tickets.
Where did you do that?
We did it right up here at the Manny Life Center as well, at 44 Charles Street West. So it's completely vegan. I'd say most of the time it's 100% gluten-free. It's a buffet style. So you come in and you can have waffles in one moment. In another moment you might have injera. Then you have something raw, some power bites. Then you might have some, different vegan cheeses that are cashew-based or a juice. But then you have maybe an eggplant parmesan as well. Maybe you have a mac and cheese with butternut squash. So the array, I'm making the audience hungry here.
Well, we were even talking before that brunch is kind of the missing thing for vegans. We can't. Breakfast is so difficult,
Right.
To go out to a place and have a breakfast, right? So something like this would just be mind blowing to walk in there and see this buffet.
And you're absolutely right.
delights.
And for me and my team, it's really interesting because I want to put out so many items, and my team is, you need to cut it down. This is too much food. They're like,
And the customers are like,
the customers are loving it because I work for the customer, and I'm for the customer, for the client, for that community that I call family, and I really do. I say the first time I meet you, we may be strangers, but after that we become family. And so what happens is, because there's so much that we want to share with people about the way of life as it relates to a plant-based lifestyle, one must demonstrate it in a variety of different ways. At least for us at Chickpeas, that is really critical for us to do. And so with our brunches, it's a great place for someone who's just trying to discover going green or going plant-based, to give them an assortment of ideas.
well, then to show them that being vegan isn't restricting you, it's actually opening.
Oh my
up
goodness! And I always
an
tell
amazing-
people that. I said, no, don't get caught up in the I like to call it the nonsense. It's with a plant-based, you actually have probably even more freedom. And for me, and in our cooking classes, what I always encourage is creativity. Allow yourself and your personality, your flavors, to come out into your food. There are no rules really. Just make sure food is clean, your hands are clean, your surface is clean. Have a great time. That's really essentially what it is. And so for any of these events, if people are interested to find out more about them, they can do so on our website, www.chicpeasveg.com, ChicPeasveg.com. They can also check us out on Instagram, Facebook. Send us emails, info@chicpeasveg.com.
So people can go to that website right now. They can sign up for the
Absolutely.
cooking classes this
That's right.
Saturday.
12 to 4, right here at Bayonne Bloor.
And can they also sign up for the pop-ups?
So yes, we just had one last Sunday. So our next pop-up brunch will be on the 24th of June, same venue, 44 Charles Street West. And the tickets for that will go on sale next week.
Fantastic. Well, I'm not sure
You
we
ready
can
to
wait
sample?
any longer.
I
yeah.
see you. I'm noticing
Yeah.
the antsiness, and it's
And I
just
know-
kind of like, when do I get to that?
I noticed you only brought 4 here today. We've got way
No,
more
I have
people
more,
than
fear
that.
not. You know, I've been dubbed as the walking kitchen. So there's always, I'll bring some out
Okay,
from
great.
the kitchen.
So-
So just to tell you what you have here,
Okay. So
you want to put it here.
you lead in there. And
Okay,
in,
absolutely. Thank you.
go ahead.
Okay, so here we have our injera sushi rolls, as I like to call them. This is made with berbere, which is our traditional pepper, indigenous to Eritrea and Ethiopia, special blend of type of chili that we make pepper with. So when you eat at a restaurant, you'll know the base is that pepper. So berbere, curry, and cinnamon, all rolled up with sprinkles of cilantro. It's actually quite a hearty appetizer. You're
Oh, this
gonna
is
need
just the
2 bites.
appetizer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
You gotta come out to the cooking classes or our buffet brunches. You know, you gotta come out to one of these things. And also, we were a lot of the festivals around the city. There's one coming up on the 12th, the Mississauga Veg Fest, their first annual one. So we'll also be there promoting plant lifestyle.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, but Sue can go first.
So can you go, please help yourself.
You're
Let me
not
do this.
getting half of mine.
No.
You're not.
Please.
Oh, thank
We
you.
actually will eat
Absolutely.
after I've bitten.
I told you, family. That's what happened. So even when you're a colleague, the same thing happens. After a while, you become family. What do you think?
It's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, or maybe several bites. So we're actually, whenever we do some events that are taster events for nonprofit organizations, we like to make some of these because they're great. You can walk around, take a few bites. People usually come back, and it's very filling.
So
It's a
this
little
stuff
bit like tuna salad in a way. Like
Is
what
it?
I recall.
without that fishy
Yeah.
taste.
Yeah, I was like,
I haven't had
salad. That's a
tuna
new one
salad
for
in
me.
33 years.
Oh,
so.
dear. Wow, and you still remember it. Okay. What were you asking, Hugh?
Oh, I just said it's like tuna salad, but without the fishy taste.
Right. And for some of you who don't know, injera is fermented. So I grew up making this. As a matter of fact, to be quite honest, it was such a chore. And it was my sister and I, the only, the girls get to make all these goodies. So I would argue, why do my brothers get to go and play and do boy stuff and I'm doing this? They should learn how to do this. And so we would kind of, with the water and the flour, we'd have to wash our hands really well. And as you get older, you realize what a privilege that was, what a privilege that experience was, because it's so unique, it's so different. Where now I go plant-based completely. And for some of you who know or may not know, majority of Eritrean Ethiopian restaurants, you'll see a good portion of a vegan menu because we have a lot of vegan options in our culture. Love the meat. My people love their meat, but a lot of vegan options as well. As a matter of fact, when I first went plant-based, my family was so concerned.
They were?
Oh yeah, they were just so concerned. They thought, what happened? What's wrong? Because they don't realize, and I'm sure some of you have
I
experienced
think
that.
we all can share in that.
Exactly.
for
And then as time goes on, you get requests. So you think you can make that dish that you made one day? How about that other one? I'd love it if you could. So can you tell me how you made that? So then that's when you kind of know that they're opening up. They're realizing it's about feeling good. It's about contributing to the wellness of our environment, to our animals, and just overall, being in harmony with the universe. And if you really look at it all around, everything flows that way. And this is how we get to do what we do. And like I said, I have 2 teenage sons, 15 and a half and 14, who are vegans from birth.
Really?
From birth. And initially, of course, if I at 20-some years of age decided I wanted to go vegan or go plant-based, that was, it's one thing. So having them completely vegan all their lives, in the earlier days, my family and some friends were very concerned. You're depriving them.
You probably thought you joined some cult or something.
What's funny?
Right?
I did hear that. I said, what cult would that be? To live well and be well and be in harmony? Well, I want to join that cult then. I want to be a permanent resident. So it's just, I think sometimes it's just fear and the ignorance. But once you get to hear different things, I make the joke of the first time I told my mom about quinoa, some years ago. And then some years passed, and she mentioned something to me where she said, oh, today I was watching Dr. Oz. And there's this new super grain. And it's called kuwaiku. And I've heard so many people try to...
Quinoa.
Yeah, quinoa.
We all say quinoa.
Everyone has said it so many different ways. I knew. I said, quinoa. She goes, yes, that's the one. She said, and he said it's so good for you, so I got to try it. Do you know where I'd get it? I said, Mama, this is the same thing I introduced to you a few years back, and you said, no, it was couscous. She said, that's why it sounded familiar then. Right? So I think it's wonderful when we have an opportunity to share. Yeah. And to do it in a way where people don't feel like you're down their throats. No, you have to be this way, because if you're not, it means you're a bad person. I think without judgment, but doing it through education and collective inclusion.
I think one way to do it is just to give
Eat.
them some food.
Yeah, that's the way I usually do it.
That's an instant win.
That's the way I usually do it, to be honest. And I don't say what it is. I just say, here's food, but what is it? Oh, just try it.
Yeah.
After they like it, then I tell them what it is.
No, this is great here. It's hard to believe it's just an appetizer.
Yeah. I have more, and I'll bring them out shortly until they're all done.
Yeah, because I noticed you had some stuff in the kitchen, right?
You peeked!
I did peek!
You peeked, okay. But that's all right. When it comes to food, like I said, it's all love. And that's just the excitement. So when I see people like this, it's great. Like we were at the TVA Spring Market yesterday, the Veg Spring Market at Witchwood Barns. And the clientele that comes through there, they are just so wonderful. They really do support us at any and every event we go to. And so yesterday we didn't have injera on the menu. And I got in trouble with quite a few customers. It's like, but where's the injera? I said, but we do a lot of other things. I want to show you the other things. Yes, that's good, but where's the injera? Next time, make sure you have injera. So in our brunches, we actually have injera consistently. I took it off the menu 1 month. I learned my lesson, put it right back. And so it's a staple. That and our blueberry, gluten-free blueberry waffles. They turned ugly. They're very,
Boy, did you bring
they're
any of those?
serious about their brunch.
Did you bring any of those waffles
No,
today?
not today. Because I think what I was planning on doing, I realized that I wouldn't have left your studios today.
That's probably correct.
So I thought I should be fair to everyone else that you may have on the roster.
Okay.
It gets like that. It's very much about passion.
All right, so people can go to the website, they can sign up for the cooking class, they
Absolutely.
can get their tickets for the pop-up brunch.
Yep.
Who are your ideal clients for the catering?
So what's beautiful about that is it's anyone and everyone. So it's been everything from, I get calls from City Hall to do some catering, and then we might get some from the Government of Ontario to do some catering, and we've been able to connect with some really wonderful people that work for these institutions who've been able to they have our food. We cater one event, somebody's there, then they call us, hey, I had your food the other day at an event. So there's that. Weddings. We do weddings, we do cocktail parties. Really and truly, anyone and everyone who appreciates wholesome, delicious, plant-based food. And you don't have to be vegan.
That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah, you don't have to. We have a lot of clients who are not vegans who enjoy
They just want this
delicious food. They just want
Yeah.
delicious food that nourishes and makes you feel good when you eat it. You're not eating and running elsewhere. You're eating and really enjoying what you're eating and knowing that it's made fresh without preservatives and additives. Everything is made to order. We don't freeze anything.
And I think people are getting more sensitive to how they feel after they eat their food. Like if you go to a fast food restaurant and you eat, you know, or those hot dog stands. I know they got a veggie dog there too, but still, one tastes great, two will ruin your day.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And to be really honest as well, I mean, I've eaten of some of these, like some of the vegan restaurants, but their whole thing is comfort food, so it's a lot of fried stuff.
Oh yeah.
And it's important to know yourself. I ate at a place I'd never eaten at. As soon as I ate it, my stomach just started to rumble, and I just dropped everything.
Or your
And
energy level drops
completely,
or something.
completely. So my friend was with me, said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Nope, can't eat this food." My
Well, when you're out
system
in public,
knows.
you can't, unbuckle the top, unbutton your top.
Not like
button
you
or-
do in private
Yeah.
all the time.
That's right.
Right?
Well, that's what people do in their own home, right?
It's
But-
true. You want to get comfortable. So again, but I think it's important to understand what is what. That is so sweet. But you're right. You're right. People want to eat healthy. People want to enjoy the food. And a lot of the things that we use, a lot of our ingredients are locally sourced, especially now as the weather gets, nicer. So we can get to some of the actual farms, like Black Creek Farm. There is the Black Farmers Collective. There are some other farms out east where you can actually go and visit. Of course, our smaller farms as well, but it's always great to get out of the city and get your hands dirty and say, okay, I like this, I want some of this. Okay, we have this happening, can we get that? So that is really important for us as well.
Even if you can get your hands dirty in the city, growing a couple
Yeah,
of
exactly,
tomatoes or something.
exactly. And there are great different businesses that push that initiative as well, that supply restaurants or businesses like mine,
Yeah. With local
sourced
stuff.
locally.
Which
Yeah.
is, they say that's, what are they, the 50-mile diet or whatever, that
Right.
your body is well suited for the food that can grow in
Right.
your
And
locale.
recently I was told also that when they say local, they mean in Ontario as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So when I get this fruit or this vegetable, it's a hop and a skip, so to speak. It hasn't traveled
Across the
miles.
continent.
Exactly.
You know what I love too is that you're involved in school programs, school nutrition programs, and I mean that is key. Needing to get plant-based
And
food
also-
into the school system.
Right, and just generally, regardless of what diet you're on, for the most part, I guess maybe with the exception of some plant-based beans, is that we don't get enough fruit and vegetable intake, period. And to be really honest, the children are so open in the schools or communities that we serve under this initiative, or in school workshops or in community workshops. The children are so open to trying the different things. So when you say, hey, can we add kale and spinach and mint and basil to the smoothie? They're like, okay, miss, I've never tried that before, but okay. As where if you had an adult with a parent, the parents say, no, he doesn't like this or she doesn't like that. Oh, no, we don't eat that at my house. But the child is willing. So sometimes I find when we do workshops separately for adults and for children, completely different. And I'll see some of those children years later. I remember, I think, being at a Raptors game or something, and there was a child yelling, Miss Asabenebi, and pronounced my last name perfectly as you did. Miss Asabenebi. I remember thinking, oh, geez, who's this? Because it's a lot of people usually stumble upon my last name, and I saw him and he said, hi, and I remembered him, and he said, I made the smoothie. I make smoothies all the time now. For my mom on Mother's Day, I made it. Remember I told you? And I thought, wow. He says, yeah, now I go with her, and we get vegetables, and we make smoothies with the fruit. We mix it. I love it. So it's a check mark you get at them when they're young. And also because with the in-school workshops, schools, administrators, and teachers were complaining that children are coming with Cokes and these Lunchables, really for breakfast, for lunch, really processed
Just garbage.
foods. Exactly. And then when I do the workshop, and they said, can you please do a workshop also for parents? Give them ideas of the type of food that you would send. So with my two sons, because they were plant-based from the beginning, they would take a hot thermos. They were opening up their thermos each day, and it's aroma. Whatever dinner was, we cook in bigger portions. And so other parents start to ask, what do you give them? What's in there? So actually, there have been cases where some of their teachers have tried their food. Said, I tried your son's food today. I had to. I asked. I hope you don't mind, Mom. I said, no, it was okay with them. So let them taste it, please. And
It speaks for itself then.
It does. So with the parents simply don't have the time the energy, and they're running out of ideas of what to prepare that doesn't take a lot of time. Something that's convenient, nutritious, and budget conscious. So in our workshops, we talk about all that piece, the financial literacy. What's the difference between buying a smoothie at a Tim Hortons and the smoothie that you make at home? What's the difference? And the children will tell you, oftentimes more so than the parents. But then when we do these workshops and we actually do it together, the different things that we make, that wasn't so hard, that was easy. I said, okay, can you see yourself making these things for your children? Or your children making it for themselves, or you collectively doing it? And they're on it. They said, yes, okay, this is all it was, oh my gosh. Or I wouldn't have thought to give, I'll give my son salad sometimes, maybe a black bean salad with some sesame and curry and maybe some organic corn, bell peppers, cilantro, and the flavor is just buzzing. As soon as they open it, everyone's like, what you got there? And I say, this is lunch. Like, really? Well, I wouldn't have thought. So the school piece is a really important piece for us. As a matter of fact, we have some coming up in all of May. Tends to be really busy with school because they have to use up their last piece of their budget, right? So, but it's wonderful for us because it just simply means I can relate as a parent, right? I can relate with not having a lot of time and making certain sacrifices. Being self-employed as an entrepreneur has its own benefits and challenges, a lot of sacrifice involved, but very rewarding. So my schedule works, a lot around the clock, so I understand the idea, okay, I got to plan ahead, make sure the children are eating well. So if we're, away for a 2-day weekend, 3 days, 4 days, working because we're back to back, I always make sure that our fridge is well stocked. They're old enough now, and they like to cook, especially my older one. They like to cook, they like to experiment, that they can help themselves, but the tools are there for them to do so. So you present something like that, then I think people are more open to it.
Okay, Naza. So people can find out more at your workshops or just on your website, chickpeasveg.com. We'll put that on the link.
Absolutely.
So thanks for coming in today. I think maybe now we can just take a little break and maybe you can bring out the rest of your food. And,
yes, I'm going to leave those two because I see that they're looking at you, you're looking at them. There's a special relationship between the interior roles and you.
They've kind of locked eyes.
Right? I think they've kicked you out of the mix, so I'll take care of you.
I think I must have been a dog in a former life. You know how dogs are.
Yeah.
They become transfixed.
Right? And they just watch it until they're very focused until they get it.
But
thank
I want to
you.
offer one of these to Chris, who's
of course,
making
and I'll
this all
bring some
happen.
more.
Okay,
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you so much. But thank you for having us
Yeah,
here.
it's been great. Great to see you again.
That. A pleasure. Yes,
Yeah.
likewise. And I hope I get to see you at one of our pop-ups.
They're just
you
up the
literally
road.
just walk
Just
up the
up
road.
the street. Now that the weather's better, I can just
Walk
ride my
right
bike up the street.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Okay,
there you
great.
go.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. We'll leave this break and we'll be back in a couple minutes here on thatchannel.com. All right, welcome back to the show. It's me, Hugh. Sue is here.
I'm feeling a little underdressed.
Why?
Can't imagine
just because
why.
they're all dressed in professional clothing and you're just
And I
wearing
show
a
up as the token vegan.
Wait a second. I thought this was the vegan show.
It is, but I'm saying I look like the stereotypical.
Well, okay. But no, these guys, I don't even know how
vegan.
the vegan thing is going to fit in here because we've got Luke Robinson, the mortgage whisperer.
That's me. That's me.
And we've got Sita and Brian Dos Ramos, who are real estate agents. And so how does veganism fit into all this?
Yeah, well, thanks for asking. I'm a licensed mortgage agent, and Sita and Brian here are also licensed real estate agents. And, we wanted to figure out how do we give back, to the cause, to organizations in need through what we do. So actually, right after I went vegan, I was kind of coming off my, new vegan energy rush, feeling like, oh my God, this is great, lots of energy, and I was like, I got to find some vegan realtors. And then, a couple calls, all of a sudden, I'm having lunch with these guys, and Vegan Home and Mortgage was born. And what we do is, we work with, vegans and non-vegans alike, but what we do is we donate, roughly about around 20% of our commissions up towards animal organizations in need.
Wow.
Often at the client's discretion, we'll ask them, do you have a particular organization that you're passionate about? We do know just from being doing this for a while now, there are so many out there, even just in the GTA here and in Southern Ontario. So the client gets to pick the organization. If they don't really care, we'll pick ones ourselves. My mom, I see a couple, Toronto Pig Save shirts here. My mom actually, she's currently running the Windsor chapter. For Windsor Detroit chapter for Vegan Home and Mortgage. We like to contribute there. And that's basically, what we do.
So people who want to support the whole vegan movement and are in the market for a home or a mortgage.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're the obvious
why not make
choice.
it help? Yeah, make it help, right? Help the causes.
Exactly.
So first of okay, so Luke, so Sita and Brian, I take it you're vegans too.
Yeah.
Or you're just in it for the money?
Why do realtors always get
that? I know. Yeah. So I think for us, because we're so busy, and Brian also runs actually, I just got him to become a realtor about 2 years ago, but he runs a construction company and does houses and
custom houses
What
and
is it,
additions. Kenneth Holmes Design Build. Yeah.
And
Kenneth Holmes Design Build.
we're so busy running all of our businesses, and we're just starting, so we're trying to find a way because I used to go to some of the Toronto Pig Save in Burlington, the vigils, and we'd love to do more of that, but it's how can we still run our businesses and then also give back at the same time.
Right. Okay. So, and where are you guys based?
We're in Burlington, Watertown, Hamilton area. You're moving up to
Mississauga, and I'm also actually currently moving to Guelph, but we service mostly GTA primarily. But we can do areas like Niagara. We could do Waterdown, Guelph, Kitchener, Waterloo, things of those areas as well.
So when you say moving to Guelph, do you mean moving an office to Guelph, or?
Oh, I'm literally just got a place there. I'm moving there to live.
Yeah. Guelph's a nice place.
Yeah, I did my undergraduate degree there. Got my degree in economics and finance, and I've been anxious to go back ever since. So looking forward to moving back.
Yeah, and it's still not too far away.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, and with the design build, Kenneth Holmes, it's called.
Yeah, Kenneth Holmes. Yeah.
You do is it just one at a time, or
no? We have multiple job sites on the go all the time as well, in that part of the business. So we build all the way from the beaches area down here in Toronto, all the way out to Niagara and St. Catharines area. But we typically have about 3 or 4 houses on the go all the time that we're building, and we're mostly working direct for clients in that business as well.
So besides the building, you're also selling these houses.
So besides building, we're also selling as well, yeah. And we're also real estate investors as well. So everything real estate and mortgage-wise, we pretty much have our hands into. Yeah.
No, that doesn't mean that people have to buy a new home that you've built.
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
You are a regular listing,
regular listing
broker, agent.
Yep. Yeah.
And the great thing, of course, is that you can get your mortgage at the same office, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And we're really excited about what we do. And I mean, just by getting more into the community, meeting more vegans, I've quickly learned that a lot of vegans, especially here in Toronto, would basically donate everything they have if they could, just to these animal organizations, because there's so much passion in the industry. So
That's why I'm broke.
It's a good opportunity to actually get quite large, substantial donations on board. So, I mean, for example, if someone were to, list their house, buy a new house with us, do the mortgage financing, it could be lead to a donation anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000 for an organization in need. So, that's basically our way of giving back.
That's amazing.
Now, so Luke, what's your story of your conversion to veganism?
So I'm about 4 years in now. It started right after I finished off university. My mom was about just 3 years in herself, and becoming quite, involved in the community, involved in the protests. She did a lot of work down at the pig slaughterhouse in Burlington there. Just her influence, over time really, really got me involved. And I go, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot. And I think I had a lot of the traditional fears that a lot of people do, especially I think a lot of young guys too. They go, I'm gonna shrivel up. I'm gonna get sick. I'm not gonna be able to go to the gym. It's just gonna be bad. So then your mom goes, you know what? Shut up. Just go get some fruits and veggies, get some good grains, and just give it a go. And after 1 week, I mean, there was no turning back after that point.
Why? What happened after 1 week?
I think basically all of my fears were irrational. I love to go to the gym every morning, and I was really concerned about energy levels, and which was ironic because the energy levels only went up from there. And it wasn't too long after that I met Sita and Brian, and I realized I would just love to work with more vegans, because it's so great when you meet clients that you get to have the same moral compass, you're passionate about the same things, and it's also one of the nicest communities of people we've ever met. Yeah. So that's basically my story and transition to all of this. Yeah.
And so, how did you meet Brian and Sita?
We were just talking about that, and I don't actually quite remember, which we got that way. Yeah. All I remember is getting their number and saying, do you want to grab lunch sometime? Yeah. And we went to, I think it was Thrive on the lakeshore in Mississauga. Yeah. And we had a vegan lunch there, and then the rest is history, really, for us.
Mm-hmm. What was it, Craigslist or something? Or,
I think it was through a friend who said, I know a vegan realtor.
Yeah. I think it was that, or I think I was just calling RE/MAX offices. I go, do you have any vegan realtors? And they go, nobody's ever asked us that. And I go, okay, well, if you find one, let me know. Yeah. And then I found Brian and Sita here.
I mean, what was your thinking, though? Did you think it was going to be a business, a business idea to work with other vegans, or you were just looking to meet?
Originally, exactly, that's it. Originally, no, I wasn't thinking about starting up a business. I just would love to, work and cooperate with other vegans. It was very new to your life, and I'm sure, as most people know, once you go, vegan, it becomes part of your life pretty quick, and an important part of your life. And basically, I just wanted to affiliate myself with more vegans, especially in the business world. And then, conceptually, Vegan Home and Mortgage came from there. But originally, I just wanted to basically meet some vegan friends. Yeah.
Well, you're on fire right at the beginning because you're just so excited.
Yeah, exactly, right? So
is that true?
I'm still on fire.
Now, Brian, okay, so what's your story in terms of, or have you always been vegan?
No, I've only been for, same as Luke, almost about 4 years now. And mine's a bit different. Obviously, like all good ideas, it came from my wife, obviously.
The cook.
The cook also, she cooks everything. So she went vegan a little earlier than me. Yeah. I come from a family of very traditional meat, potatoes. We're all contractors. My brothers are hunters, and it's just a completely different world that I grew up in. And I've always been an animal lover, and I've always, never really supported any of that causes. So I knew once she came, and she can tell you her story of how she decided, but when she went vegan, I knew eventually I was going to go. But I knew it was going to happen, because I always said I was an animal lover, and as soon as she explained a little bit of the information, I knew right away. I'm like, I can't say I'm an animal lover and then go and eat meat. But I was playing the ignorance card for a little bit and said, don't tell me. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know. I don't want to hear it. Right? Yeah, that's all it was. Yeah. That's all it was. And then I don't know why I decided. I didn't even tell her for about 2 weeks that I had stopped eating meat.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And then one time she felt bad because she cooked, so we were eating no meat at home anyways for a year and a half, 2 years almost. And she was like, let's go out to dinner. She felt bad. She wanted me to be able to eat meat. And we went out to dinner, and I don't know what I ordered. And she just kind of looked at me weird. And I was like, I haven't eaten meat in 2 weeks. I didn't want to tell you just in case.
Why are you eating here then?
So that was my story. And I mean, for me, it's kind of, at the beginning, it was similar to Luke. There was a lot of more just kind of irrational thoughts and fears, especially for me being, at that time, I was really heavily into the construction business and working on the job sites. Now I'm more in the office and running around. But
Not that would make any difference.
It doesn't make a difference,
right?
but it plays in your notion of, hey, I'm on a construction site with a bunch of contractors, and I know I'm going to get chirped. I know I'm going to have to deal with those conversations, right? But luckily, I own the company, so they didn't chirp that much. But as soon as the conversation turns serious, though, the chirping stops, and they listen, and then they realize, oh, I really can't argue with this conversation, so I better stop, or I'm going to be converted pretty quickly. So that's my story.
So let me just ask you about the say working on a house, you're doing heavy work, physical work. Were you concerned that your energy levels were going to maybe drop and not be sufficient?
Yeah, I think
the job?
I don't know if that really played on my mind, because for me, from running the business from such a young age, I was having a hard time anyways dealing with the stress of running a business, and I was really stressed out, and I had a lot of like stomach issues and stuff like that was all stress related. So I think I was ready for a change anyways. So I don't know if that really played too much notion in my mind, but then once I stopped eating meat, within weeks my stomach started to feel better.
Really?
My skin started to get better. I had more energy, and then it kind of changes your dynamic of your life, and you start going down a slightly different life path, and you start living a little healthier and working out a bit more. And so for me, it's from day one been nothing but a positive change.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Sita.
Yeah.
Have you always been vegan?
So no, I went vegan, it's like 5.5 years ago. I come from, my mom's side is Sri Lankan, and they're mostly vegetarians, and my dad's side is German, and they're meat and potato sausage. So like very polar opposite. And my cousin came home one day and said, or on Thanksgiving, and announced that she's gone vegan, and I didn't even know what it was. I'd never even heard the word, and I was like, "You're what?" And she had to
Thinking
explain
it's a
it.
religion.
I was like,
Or a
I was like,
planet.
"Have you joined a cult?" Like that's what I thought. Like I was like, "What is that?" So for Christmas, I had bought a vegan cookbook for her, and I went home, and I had a couple hours to kill before I went to meet some friends, and I flipped on Netflix. And there was like this documentary. It was like Vegucated, vegan. Yeah, and so I was like, oh, cool. Like this is meant to be. I'm meant to watch this, not knowing anything. Like I didn't know anything really besides this cookbook I picked up. And so I watched this documentary, and I was crying by myself, and it just like shook me to my core kind of thing. And I knew instantly I will never ever eat like meat, animal products again.
From watching that.
And that was it was like a switch went off in my mind. And I was angry at everybody. I was angry at my mom, my dad, my grandparents. I was like, you've been lying to me. Nobody's told me. I had this
You feel
really false idea of like happy old McDonald's farm, and all these animals are being, treated so nicely. And it was like very instant. Like I actually was meeting friends afterwards, and I went and picked up food because I knew I was going to go eat at their place. And I went and picked up like Thai food for myself, and like got like tofu and stuff. And said like, guys, I'm never eating meat or anything again. And they were like, what? And I was scared because we had just got married, and I was like, oh God, he's going to divorce me. He finds out. And I think I told him, and he was like, yeah, okay, honey, sure. Like you see it, like thinking this is not going to last very long, because I did all the cooking, and I felt like every meal was based around, we're going to have meat and whatever else. So I had to retrain myself how to cook,
and it was was it that fast just watching this one
thing
documentary?
Changed my whole, like we have a dog, and I just I cared so much for this animal, and I'd always cared for animals so much, and it was like I never made that connection at all.
And it was called Vegucated?
Vegucated.
It's very entertaining. It's really a really
and it's
good
about
documentary.
other people's journey.
It
She
is.
like puts an ad out and gets other people to try veganism.
Yeah,
and
for a month, I think it is, right?
Yeah, and she brings them to a farm, and you see, and also there's a factory farm in Burlington that I used to drive by every day. And I think that started to slowly play on my mind. I would see these pig trucks in the middle of winter and like in the boiling hot summer, and I'd be pulled up beside them, and I'd be like, what is that? Like, I'd never really made that connection before. So that slowly started, and then watching that documentary really just
opens your eyes, and
it
you
was
start to see everything.
And it changed. Yeah, it was like an instant switch overnight for me, really. Yeah.
That's because I've never heard of that one before. we've heard of cowspiracy.
Yeah, we were.
Oh, veggie.
Or anything. One person who really was helping me out, he's probably a household name now for vegans, is Dr. Michael Greger.
Oh, yeah.
And, nutritionfacts.org and How to Not Die, which is a book I've read a couple times now, actually. It's got a very appealing title. So,
is it true?
How to Not Die?
Yeah.
It's worked so far.
Well, it's guaranteed or your money back.
Exactly.
Okay, so now, do you guys have any any events or anything that's coming up that you want to let people know about?
So we have done events in the past. We worked actually the Toronto Food and Drink Festival. We've done Toronto Veg Fest in the past. Right now we're not doing that, so mostly we're trying to promote through Facebook. It's been an excellent tool to meet other vegans and just communicate directly with them, because it's so easy for them just to message us, and then we got it on our phones and we're talking to other vegans almost instantly. So our main thing we're trying to advertise right now is Vegan Home and Mortgage Facebook page. We will be getting a website up and going soon enough. But again, Facebook has been a great tool for us. That's what we're currently using. Yeah.
Do you have the website registered?
No, actually not right this moment. Yeah, it's just in development actually. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we can all look forward to that. And so really, I guess the message is, well, actually, I just wanted to ask you, are you finding that there's a lot of interest from the vegan community? Like, is it growing? Is it, are you getting busier all the time?
Of course, we're getting busier. And, as we've noticed, just in the last 4 years that I've gone vegan, I've just noticed that this group of people just gets so much bigger every year. So, we want to grow with the vegan movement as they grow as well. And another thing that we do as well is that, so say, you yourself you're vegan, but somebody, a friend, maybe a family member who you're trying to convince to go vegan, maybe they're buying a house or need a mortgage. Referring us to them will still lead to, a substantial donation to an animal organization in need. So, that's where, all the non-vegans also get to contribute to vegan causes.
Whether they want to or not.
Very sneaky.
And you don't have to be vegan to buy a house from you guys.
Of course.
No.
So that's
we can still donate without them knowing. We can still donate. It doesn't matter.
Hopefully one day we are working exclusively with just vegans, but we're unfortunately not there yet.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
the whole world's going vegan.
It's
so
going to the change
so
is
you will
happening.
be working with other vegans.
That's what Sandra says.
That's what I'd say too.
That it's going to happen quicker than we know.
It's definitely growing. Like I noticed again, even on the construction sites. Like I even have guys that work for me now that are stopping eating meat. They're only eating meat once a week now, and they're slowly starting to cut back. And then their wives are getting interested. So it's growing completely. Yeah.
And I'm just curious because you're building the houses. Is there, can you build a house that's more vegan friendly than another house?
Well, there are ways. Unfortunately, a lot of people that are building nowadays and a lot of the customers just aren't even aware of different ways, like even from the lumber industry, right?
Like what would you do?
Well, you can go with concrete housing, you can go with rammed aggregate houses. There's a lot of different forms, but I don't think our government supports them. Definitely in any downtown areas, we wouldn't be able to do anything with it. They just wouldn't even consider the applications. They wouldn't even know
what would you be able to do? How would a house be more vegan friendly?
Well, vegan friendly from products is a relatively easy one. Just making sure that none of the products that are going into the house are using animal products or anything like that. From this sense of sustainability, there's another avenue that you can look at it from. I mean, obviously houses we're building a lot out of lumber and we're cutting down a lot of forests to do it, which is impacting animals as well. So there's other ways to do it, but I think there was someone on the show earlier that was talking about it as well.
I thought it was a nice segue.
It was a nice
for you
segue,
guys.
because it's true. It's just like the government's not supporting it right now, and there's not a lot of people even aware of it or even entertaining the thought process of how can we build more sustainable, right?
Well, you could build more sustainable.
Yeah, we can, exactly.
I mean, you got to deal with the market forces and the customer preferences and all that sort of thing, and of course the legal
would be nice to
requirements.
get a little grant from the government.
It would be nice if they would,
Well, another way they actually can help it too is when when people stage houses. Often you got to bring in new furniture and new things to help make the house look as presentable as possible. And I know these guys will often make sure that no animal products are bought in, no animal furs are used to show the house, and the house is shown in a respectful way to obviously to vegan culture. Yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously the message is clear. Anybody who's a vegan or who's either in the market for a house or a mortgage or knows somebody who doesn't have to be vegan, who needs a house for a mortgage, they can get in touch. And of course, there's going to be a substantial amount of money go to help vegan enterprises and animal welfare.
Well, yeah, let's support one another, right?
Of course, exactly.
So that's amazing. So, and you mentioned, Luke, on Facebook, they just look up.
A vegan home and mortgage.
Okay,
vegan home and mortgage.
And how come it says the Mortgage Whisperer?
It's just what I go by.
The name he's picked
He
up.
gave himself this name, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. Okay, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us on. Really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
I was really excited to have these guys on. I was blown away when I saw this concept on Facebook.
Well, actually, and we've got we're going to be talking to a couple of people from the Save movement next,
Yeah.
right?
So here we go, another segue.
I mean, we keep hearing about this slaughterhouse in Burlington, right?
Yeah, you gotta get rid of it.
Get rid of it, please.
We'll see what this
Shut
says.
them down.
All right, we're going to take a little break here on liquidlunchatchannel.com. We'll be right back with Lori and James. All right, welcome back. This is the home run stretch of the show on a beautiful day. It's actually, the weather's actually getting good out there.
It is.
It's going to be planting season in just 2 more months.
And the growing season ends a month later, right?
Or earlier.
Yeah.
Right. But anyways, let's just, we've got Lori Croonin on Skype drinking
nice big drink of
something. What are you drinking there, Lori?
It's just water.
Vodka. Lemon gin.
And we've got James Oso here in the studio.
Hi.
And you've got the Toronto Pig Safe shirt on.
Yeah.
Represent.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, and you guys are both from the Save movement, which
right.
is, I'm just going to let you guys, I'm not going to maybe necessarily address either of you in particular. So let's just, first of all, how do you guys work together, or how do you know each other? Are you guys married or something, like everyone else was today?
Jealous woman in the front row now. Huh?
So we know each other from the Toronto Pig Safe Vigils, which happen in Burlington. And Laurie lives in Burlington, and Toronto Pig Safe started in 2010 when Anita Krantz and her companion dog, Mr. Bean, were walking along Lakeshore, and they saw slaughter trucks go by, and Anita decided to do something about it. So made a commitment to hold vigils downtown Toronto, where there used to be a slaughterhouse called Quality Meat Packers, and then that went bankrupt in 2014. So we moved the vigils to Burlington and at Fearman's Slaughterhouse.
Where was that one in Toronto?
It was on Niagara Street.
Oh, okay.
Niagara and Wellington.
Right. All right. So, and do you live in Toronto, James?
I live in Toronto, yeah. I used to actually live on Niagara Street, so I used to see the trucks all the time.
Right. Okay. So, and then how did you get to know Lori here, who's all the way in Burlington?
From the vigil, when we moved, when Quality Meat Packers shut down, and we moved the vigils to Burlington, Fearman's Slaughterhouse. They kill about 10,000 pigs a day.
A day,
yeah. So we moved the vigils there, and that's when I met Laurie, because she lives really close and comes to all the vigils, and she is the main organizer, I'd say, of the Burlington vigils.
Oh, so Laurie, you're the main organizer of just Burlington, or?
Yeah. I'm working right now. So I work from home. So it's easy for me to put everything, all the banners and the brochures and everything, and the water for the pigs in my car. So I usually try to get there before the vigil starts. If I have a conflict that day, I try to at least drop everything off and then pick it up. So I'm literally 5 minutes away from Pyramids.
So now that's but you guys are about more than just the pigs, right? I know you got the Toronto Pig Safe shirt on, James, but
yeah.
Can you what are some of the other activities that you're involved with?
So the Save movement, what we do is we bear witness to animals arriving for slaughter, so any type of animal. Because what we find happens is when you meet the victim, you really connect with that animal, and it really ignites the desire to make animal rights a priority in your life. So we hold vigils in Toronto at a chicken slaughterhouse called Maple Leaf Poultry. They kill about 250,000 chickens a day.
Wow, where's that one?
That one is at Keele and St. Clair.
Okay.
And we also hold vigils at, there's 2 cow slaughterhouses right opposite each other, also the same location, Riding Regency and St. Helens. And we hold vigils there also. We also hold, last winter, we started Toronto Fur Animal Save. We hold vigils at a dog park in Toronto because a lot of people will wear Canada Goose and other fur trim jackets whilst walking their dogs.
Oh yeah.
And so we hold signs saying why love one, wear the other, just trying to raise awareness that these compassionate people who are walking dogs, they've just been conditioned, they don't realise they're actually wearing dogs as well. So
yeah, they don't even. Yeah.
They don't make that connection.
Exactly. We're just trying to help them make that connection.
Okay. Now, how did you become a vegan, or how did you get interested in?
So I became, well, first of all, my wife went vegetarian. Jennifer, yeah, and
she's got a Chicken Safe shirt on.
She has. And just like the previous guest, she was vegetarian for 2 weeks and didn't tell me. I didn't notice, so that went down really well.
But wait, were you a vegan or
no,
veg?
I was just
just a guy,
just murdering animals.
Oh yeah.
So she went vegetarian, and then after a couple of weeks, I went vegetarian. And then about a year after that, I read a book called Skinny Bitch by Rory Friedman, which is a really hard-hitting, direct book, which really kind of no holds barred about the cruelty you're contributing to and you're supporting, talking about cows getting raped. If you consume dairy, you're paying for cows to be raped. It's really kind of hard hitting, a bit kind of controversial, but that really hit home with me. And I read that book and went vegan the same day.
Wow. Which was after she went vegan.
Well, no, she was vegetarian.
Oh, vegetarian. Oh.
And then we both went vegan the same day.
Oh, okay.
I'm just wondering when you both told one another that you were vegetarian, how you'd gone. And
it was 2 weeks later. She told me she'd gone vegetarian, and so then I went vegetarian.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought you were saying she was vegetarian, and then you decided to do it and you hadn't told one another.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no. She told me, and then when I read this book, I called her up at work and I said, "I've read this book. I'm vegan now." So she kind of went vegan as well the same day.
See, I think it's good to hear these stories about how people make the decisions. So, Lori, we need to hear your story now. How long have you been, or are you a vegan?
Oh, she's a long time.
Of course. No, I actually, I stopped eating animals when, 40 years ago when I was a child. I was at a farm and I was petting the pigs and the sheep and everything, and then the farmer took me into another farm, and I actually saw blood, and I'm like, "What's that?" And she's like, "Well, this is where we kill the animals so we can eat them." So that really had a traumatic effect on me. So I went home and I told my mom I'm not going to eat animals anymore. And I was actually, when I came home, I was only 7. I was angry at her because I love animals. So it's like, why are you feeding me, animals? So she said that was in the 70s. So she's thinking, well, you have to eat animals or you'll die. And so we had quite a few standoffs at the dinner table. And then she took me to a pediatrician, and the pediatrician luckily said, "Oh, that's not going to be a problem. She'll be fine. She just makes sure she gets her protein in other ways." And then after that, my parents supported me. But in those days, there was no internet, and I didn't know anyone that didn't eat animals. So I kind of grew up apologizing because everyone was like, "Oh, Lori's here. She's going to be the one that's going to make us feel guilty about eating animals and all that kind of stuff." And it's funny. It really, not knowing anyone, looking back, I can't believe it. But at that time, it was all these things I would avoid having conversations with people because somehow it would come out that I don't eat animals and they would attack me. And so that went on for years and years. And then I joined Facebook, 2012 or 11 or something like that, just to share pictures. And then I was looking for vegetarian recipes, and then I found these, pictures about veganism. And I was like, well, why would anyone be vegan? And I was shocked what I found. And again, I was kind of angry because all these years I thought I was doing the right thing, not eating animals, and I had no idea about dairy. And everyone, all vegetarians will say the same thing when they kind of make the connection. It's like, I wish I knew because I would have been vegan day one. But you're told all these lies. There's a lot of propaganda out there, and you go to the supermarket and you see the cows on the milk cartons all happy, and you don't see another side of it. You think that no one's lying to you, right? So then I became vegan. So that was 5-6 years ago. But I wasn't an activist, and I actually for this interview I went to look for this. Can you see this this picture?
Just pork plant targeted by protesters. Pigs are friends, not food. Honk for humanity. Yeah.
I I don't know if you can see this green. This is that Fearman slaughterhouse.
I see the green. What is it?
My daughter was 7 at the time, and I saw this, and I didn't even know. I just moved to Burlington a few years previous. I didn't know there was a slaughterhouse here, and I saw this in the Burlington Post, and I cut it out and put it on the fridge. And my daughter was 7, so she was just like me. She kind of saw that, and she wrote, "I agree." It's really funny because she spelled agree wrong.
Wait, how did she spell it?
AGRE, but she was only 7. So that was the moment that I started, and that was in 2011, and I kept it because I keep a scrapbook for her. But I honked, and I went past Fearman's and I honked, and then every time I passed it, now that I knew that it was there, I would start crying because I would know, like I would see the pigs in the truck and stuff like that. So even though I hadn't eaten animals almost my entire life, I still was disconnected because I didn't think of them, because out of sight, out of mind, I guess, right? Like I knew I wouldn't eat them, but I wasn't, in retrospect, I don't think I was doing that much, just not eating them. Mm-hmm. Like this girl, and then Anita, I guess I saw them, and then Anita was on trial. Was that 2015? And I saw her on the news, and I went to. It was an all-day vigil. I guess the summer of 2015 that I came to that vigil, and then I've probably been there ever since. Every week ever since. So it's just like what James said. It's once you come face to face with the victims, it just makes you really strong, and you can basically take anyone's, you get a lot of hate. I get a lot of hate anyways, online and from truckers and stuff like that, but it just pales in comparison, what they have to go through. So I think that the most important thing that we can do is just to tell people the other side. I'm not saying, like some people say, you're pushing your values or whatever. But really, it's a matter of just telling people the other side of it. Like start conversations. Like I have the liberation bracelet, and whenever I go to the dentist or the doctor or an interview with my daughter's teachers, they always ask about the bracelet, and I use that as a way to start talking about why I'm vegan and everything. And you'd be surprised how many people are just like, well, most of them are just like us, right? It's not something that they think about. They don't think about slaughterhouses, right? They think about paying their mortgage and going to work and all these kind of things. So as soon as you start talking about it and kind of breaking the myths that there's no cruelty involved, it gets people thinking. Like even like when I started doing the vigils at Fearman's, like everyone would be really angry at us. And I just noticed such a change in the last year. Like so many people are coming around, and they're saying, thank you for opening my eyes, because I just didn't think about them.
Can you just hold that bracelet up again while you? I just want to see what that thing is. Oh, that.
Yeah,
I've seen those before.
And then it says
probably with Alex when he was here.
Yeah. What does it say on it?
It says until every cage is empty.
Okay.
And the thing that I love about this is that people that maybe will not talk to you about it, they're usually people like service workers, like people at grocery stores and stuff like that. So they have to kind of be nice to you. So they start the conversation. And then once you start it, like I've had people be really kind of defensive towards me. And then I'll see them again, and then they'll be like, can I get some more information on that? So even if someone's kind of rude to you, I think it's because they feel guilty. Because if they didn't feel guilty, they would just go, that's not for me, and that's it. Like they'd be indifferent. At some point, like they feel something that, something is not right. And so sometimes they get mad at you, but you can't stop. You can't be silent. You just have to keep on talking to people, and until like this, what we're doing to pigs and cows and chickens and coyotes and all this is illegal, and we're not going to get there until like it or not, we have to convince the mass, like we have to convince society this is wrong. And once we do that, then everything will follow, like the laws will follow and everything. So the first step is just making sure everyone has the information that they need to make their own decision, because it is hidden from them, just like it was hidden from all of us.
That's it. It's like people are conditioned from infancy to believe that eating meat and dairy is normal, natural, necessary, and that's obviously not true. So what the Save movement does is just try and raise awareness in a love-based way and show people that the what's on their food are actually animals, that they're contributing, they're paying people to kill these animals. And we're just trying to raise awareness that they don't need to do that, it's cruel to do that, it's not sustainable to do that, it's damaging the planet, their own health and the animals.
So you're doing the vigil in Burlington once a week? Is that?
It's once a week, but we have all-day vigils throughout the summer. We've got the next one on May the 8th with vegan models and environmentalist Jade Nicole and vegan model Tina Louise are coming out from LA to join us for that vigil. So
Tina Louise?
Tina Louise, yeah.
You mean the one from Gilligan's Island?
No, I don't mean that. Different one.
She'd be 100 years old now, wouldn't she?
Well, if she's vegan, she'll be a healthy.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
right.
Point, yeah.
How many chapters now in the is it 400?
It's nearly 400, yeah. Yeah, it's growing
across
exponentially.
the world.
Across the world, 6 continents, I think over 40 countries. So all animals, like there's Toronto Fish Save as well, I forgot to mention earlier. So
Fish Save?
Fish Save,
do they
yeah.
do vigils?
We have vigils at St. Lawrence Market and Ripley's Aquarium in downtown Toronto. And also at Nations Earth, I think it's called, in by the stockyards in Toronto, where they have fish in a tank, and you can pick out the fish, and they'll literally club the fish to death right in front of you. So we hold vigils there as well.
You know, they have that Red Lobster over there. They got a tank full of lobsters.
Yeah.
Right there, as soon as you walk in. Now, is there? So, what happens at these vigils? I mean, how long do they last? And I'm just wondering, because with the increasing interest, I'm just wondering if you're getting more and more people out.
Come out to one.
And
yeah, come.
Does everyone have to wear a costume like the one in the newspaper article? Because that would be enough to get me out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Especially a chicken. I would like a chicken costume. I saw someone on Easter wearing one, and I thought, that's for me.
Yes, you have. Everyone has to wear.
There's an initiation.
Who shows up in the costume? Yeah.
Okay. So what happens at these vigils? I guess Laura, you can. What happens in Burlington? Yeah.
Yeah. So in Burlington, we usually don't go. There's a left-hand turn right before the slaughterhouse, and the vigils are every week from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. So for 2 hours, and it's like a busy time where people are going to work. So when they make that left-hand turn into the slaughterhouse, we basically stand on the median, and because of the light, and then usually there's a lot of traffic, the truck can't get through the light. We just, while they're at the red light, we give water to the pigs, and we also record and post on social media what we see. Lots of times we see the pigs that are they're dead. They've actually traveled for days, and they're actually dead in the truck. They're very thirsty. It doesn't matter if it's winter or summer. They're thirsty, and as soon as you give them water, they come right for it. And it's the one thing that amazes me is that they're not. The pigs are just so. I don't know what it is. Like, they come forward. Like, they know that we're there because we love them, and they come forward. Like, they want us. They want us to save them, and we can't. And it's amazing how sensitive they are, because when we're giving them water and they're finally getting a little bit of compassion, someone will drive by and honk their horn like loud, like, and say, "I love bacon," or something like that. And as soon as they do that, the pigs just back right off. Like, they feel the hate. And It's very powerful, and it just seeing them in that state, and they're only 4 months old, these pigs, and there's like 200 of them. They're injured, they're scratched, they're thirsty. It really makes you just want to, just fight for them even more, seeing them. And like I said before, it's a very busy, Fearman's luckily is actually in a busy intersection there. So a lot of people kind of see us and then look at the trucks and then see the snouts, and then they kind of, now these aren't things anymore. So a lot of these people now, they're animals. They're just like any other animal. They're like your dog or your cat. So a lot of people have stopped and joined us. Like they stop their car and they join us, and we hear the stories, and they say, well, at first I thought you guys were crazy being there, but then like I pass you a lot, and I see you giving water, and I see the pigs, drinking the water, and I realize that, there's something wrong here, kind of thing. So that's basically what we do, is we give them compassion for 2 minutes when we can.
So, and I'm just curious what happens at the fish save or the cow save or the chicken save at other locations.
It's the same kind of as at the pig, so all the locations really. When the trucks arrive, the trucks stop, and we give attention, we give compassion and love to the animals. We'll take photos, post those on social media, and they're really effective in helping people make that connection and go vegan and become active, because the animals are really expressive. You can really tell the emotions they're going through, and that's different for the different animals. I think the pigs, a lot of the time, there's despair, hopelessness, they've kind of given up. It's heartbreaking to see. The cows are terrified, they're really scared. The lambs are really kind of inquisitive, they don't really know what's happening. So another thing I'd say is it's really important to be there, because if we're not there, no one's there, and nobody gets to acknowledge these animals. That they arrive at the slaughterhouse, they get murdered, and no one even acknowledges them. And if we're there and we show them that compassion, we take the footage of them and post on social media, at least they have that acknowledgement, and that they help through raising awareness. It helps people go vegan and stop contributing to this.
Okay, so when is the next pig save in Burlington? Is are you still there, Lori?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay. When's your there you are.
You're very talented.
When's your next pig save then? If people want to show up in Burlington.
Yeah, Thursday at 8 a.m.
Is it every Thursday?
Yes.
Every Thursday, 8 a.m. And where is it? What's the corner there where you guys meet?
Harvester and Appleby Line.
Appleby Line?
Yes.
Okay. And then are there any other save events in Toronto?
Yeah, so the cows are every Tuesday, 9:30 till midday. And
Is that
Keele and St. Clair,
yeah.
And the chickens are every Thursday evening, 7:30 until late, like 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And then fish, it's not always every week, but they...
The fish save varies depending on the event. So
Right.
if Ripley's are having an event, fish save will schedule an event to coincide with that.
Yeah.
I think it's bi-weekly at St. Lawrence Market.
Okay.
Saturday mornings.
Saturday morning, usually Saturday mornings, yeah.
Now, do you have a website or Facebook or anything that people can subscribe to, and you can let them know about other events?
We have all that. Like Facebook is Toronto Pig Save, Toronto Cow Save, Toronto Chicken Save, the Save Movement, Instagram the same, TorontoPigSave.org or Save Movement, or the SaveMovement.org are the websites. If people want to start a group in their location, they can email us at savemovementinfo@gmail.com.
Okay, is this like based out of Toronto, or?
Started in Toronto, now it's a worldwide movement.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it's growing exponentially.
It really is, yeah.
And Lori, do you have any additional web resources that you want to share with people? Or did James cover it?
Yeah, I covered it. And I think, well, Jenny knows, I can't think of the name. The Animal Rights Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the best place to go to look for events in the Toronto and surrounding areas. Because, like, for example, like everything, like we're having a Mother's Day march on Mother's Day, and we're going to be marching from downtown Burlington to Fearman Slaughterhouse. So that'll be posted there, and all like activists in the area kind of post there. So I think that's a really good spot to look.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, listen, guys. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks so much.
Nice to meet you, James. And Lori, you'll have to come visit whenever you get into the city. Unless we get out there to Burlington first.
Okay.
All right. Okay, guys. So thanks. And Sue, thanks for another great show
Are great
on a
people.
beautiful...
I know, pulling these poor people in from a beautiful day,
but we still got some food left over there, so we're gonna wrap the show up. But
talk about a one-track mind.
yeah, sorry, Lori, you're not here. You don't get to have any of this fabulous. But maybe next time. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks guys for being here today, and Chris for running the board. And we'll see y'all. I guess we'll be back Wednesday on Liquid Lunch. So we'll see you then at channel.com.